There are days dark, heavy days when the burden of life feels like a weight too great to bear. You wake up and something inside you whispers, "What's the point?" You look around and the world seems indifferent, even hostile. Your dreams feel ridiculous, your efforts futile, and the voice in your head grows louder, more cynical. You'll never make it. You're not good enough. Now, I want to tell you something, and I need you to really hear it. That voice, that whisper of hopelessness is not the truth. It's a test, a trial, a dragon lurking in the shadows of your soul, waiting for you to either cower or confront it. Life is suffering. That's true. But that doesn't mean it's meaningless. In fact, it's precisely because life is difficult that your actions matter. If it were easy, if joy and success were handed to you like candy, there would be no courage in facing the day, but a heroic one. There's an old idea that when you aim at nothing, you become nothing. And it's true. You must pick something, anything that's worth aiming at. Something noble. And then act as if your life depends on moving toward it, because it does. The smallest movement forward is infinitely more powerful than staying still in despair. Clean your room. Call your father. Write a sentence. Do the next right thing, no matter how small, and you will start to generate the momentum of meaning. You're not some fragile creature made of glass. You're capable of extraordinary things, and deep inside you, whether you know it or not, is a fortiate capacity for strength, for integrity, for truth that can reshape not just your life, but the world. But to access it, you have to tell the truth. Start with yourself. Say, "This is where I am. This is what I've done. This is what I must change." And then act. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The hero myth that runs through every culture you had, is it really? It's a blueprint. It says, go into the chaos, face what terrifies you, rescue what matters, and bring it back into order. That's your task. Your meaning is inside the dragon you're afraid of. And if you run from it, you only get weaker. But if you walk toward it step by step, you grow stronger. You become someone who can not only survive, but lead, inspire, transform. And you don't do it just for yourself. You do it for your family, your community, the people who need you. Even if they've never said it out loud, you do it because the world is better when you stand up and carry your load. You mate, your life mati. And your refusal to give up, that is the revolution. So, when you're staring into the abyss and the pain seems unbearable, remember this, stand up straight with your shoulders back. Tell the truth. I'm high. Face the darkness and keep going, because the alternative is hell. And you were not made for hell. You were made to climb. The weight of existence is not a flaw. It's the call to responsibility. When people feel like giving up, it's often because the sheer weight of existence starts to crush them. The bills pile up. The relationships fray. The body weakens. The mind race. And you begin to think, maybe I just wasn't built for this. And that's a tempting idea, because if you're inherently broken, if the struggle is some kind of cosmic mistake, then maybe you're justified in laying down your burden. But here's a harder, more terrible, and far more empowering truth. Life is difficult by design. The difficulty is not a punishment. It's an invitation. We often imagine that the ideal life is one of ease, a never-ending vacation of happiness and comfort. But that illusion breaks apart the first time you experience profound loss, betrayal, or failure. The fantasy dies, and in its place, something much more real has the chance to grow maturity. Strength, purpose, those aren't gifts handed to you. They are forged over time under pressure. Let me give you an example. I've spoken to many people, clients, students, a stranger sand. What I see in those who are collapsing under the strain of life isn't weakness. It's untapped strength. It's the potential that hasn't been called upon. It's a soul that hasn't yet realized that it was meant to carry something heavy, because in doing so, it becomes someone capable of standing upright in a collapsing world. You are not a victim of suffering. You're a creature made in its furnace. And the discomfort you feel, that sense that life is crushing you, isn't always a signal to retreat. Sometimes it's the soul's alarm bell warning you you're not carrying
what you could. You've let go of your responsibility. You've betrayed your own potential. This is a harsh truth. But it's also liberating, because if the weight of life is part of its structure, then the aim isn't to escape the weight, it's to learn how to carry it with purpose. You can't fix the suffering by wishing it away, but you can start to bear it voluntarily, and in doing that, it begins to transform. You begin to transform on. Think about it like this. If you were handed the life of your dreams, no work, no hardship, no responsibility, it would corrode you. You'd grow resentful, bored. You need a reason to get out of bed that's bigger than comfort. Responsibility is that reason. It calls you up, not down. It says, there's something worth carrying, and you're the one who must carry it. Not because you're perfect, but because you're capable of growing. And growing, especially under pressure, is the point. So when you feel like giving up the weight seems unbearable, stop for a moment. Ask, what load am I avoiding? What responsibility have I refused that, if I accepted it, could begin to put my soul back together? The answer will hurt. But it will also give you something that despair never can. The beginning of direction. The first real foothold out of the pit, and maybe that's all you need. Today not a complete escape from the struggle, but the knowledge that carrying your load on purpose is not only possible. Despair emerges when meaning collapses, but meaning is chosen, not found. Despair doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes when your internal compass spins and never locks onto true north. It's when your actions feel disconnected from any sense of consequence. It's when the things you once believed in, your goals, your values, your place in the world begin to feel hollow, and then the darkness creeps in. Not the dramatic, theatrical kind, but the slow, grinding erosion of hope. You wake up and can't remember why you should try. You sit down to work and nothing feels worth the effort. The question echoes louder and louder. What's the point? That's what it means when meaning collapses. It's not just sadness. It's disorientation. And without meaning, you can't endure suffering, at least not for long. It's not the pain itself that destroys you. It's the belief that the pain is pointless, that there's no redemptive arc to it, no story that puts it into context. And when that belief takes hold, you don't just feel lost, you are lost. But here's the critical insight. And it's one that modern people often ignore or reject. Meaning is not something you passively discover. It's something you choose. It's something you build, brick by brick, through what you aim at, what you commit to, and what you sacrifice for. And it's hard, because we're conditioned through media, education, even well-meaning advocito. Think that meaning will show up one day like a lightning bolt, that it will descend on us, fully formed, in a flash of purpose and passion. That's a lie. That's a myth sold to people so they'll keep scrolling, waiting for inspiration to magically strike. Real meaning doesn't appear like that. It emerges slowly, painfully, through conscious effort. You decide what matters and then you act as if it does. You speak the truth, even when it costs you. You show up to the job, the relationship, the practice, even when you feel like quitting. You aim at something noble, however distant, and you orient your life toward it with discipline and integrity. Let me tell you something personal. I've spoken with people who had every reason to give up, people who had been shattered by grief, addiction, trauma. And do you know what pulled them out of the pit? Not some external savior, not a moment of cosmic clarity. It was the decision, often small, quiet, and unnoticed to act as if their life could matter again, to choose a responsibility, however minor, to rebuild meaning from the ashes. That's the heroic act in the modern world. Not to be happy, not to be entertained, but to stand in the ruins of your former beliefs and say, I will start again. I will choose what to value. I will live in alignment with that choice. And when you do that one, you willingly carry that burden. When you orient your life toward something meaningful, you begin to generate the very strength you thought you lacked. You stop drifting. You become centered, not because you've escaped suffering, but because you've begun to redeem it. That's the path out of despair, not escape, not comfort, not distraction. Meaning. And meaning is not given. It's forged. In effort, in responsibility, in truth. Small actions forge giants. You become what you aim at.